in sales, how important is it to make an impactful presentation, communicate clearly so that the customer actually is sold to your product and never ever gives a chance to competition to get in. So how do you make that impactful sales presentation? In this video, I will tell you numerous steps by which you can make an impactful sales presentation to your customer. But before that, let me give you an example. Assuming you have walked into a mall and you've seen an outlet, and you walk into the outlet and you see a retail representative. He approaches you and he makes an impactful presentation to you. Even though you are not interested in buying that product, you have kind of developed a small interest and want to hear him out. So why did that happen? Well, that happened because he made an impactful presentation to you. So let's begin on the steps you must take to make an impactful presentation to your customer. Point number 1, ensure that your thoughts are not fuzzy. You know your product or service in and out. Because only if you know your product and service in and out, you can make an impactful presentation. Point number 2, be enthusiastic about your product. If you are not enthusiastic about your product, you would sound boring. And no customer would like to speak to a person who's boring or dull or drabbing. Let's move to point number 3. Be animated about your product. Because if you're not sold to your product, how would you sell it to someone else? So there's no harm in being animated, showing hands, or so and so forth. Because that translates the enthusiasm of your product, hopefully, to the customer. Let's move to point number 4. Be sharp, short, and concise. Don't give long stories to the customer. If you do that, the chances of selling are much better. Summarize as much as you can about the product. The more you summarize about the product, the understanding of the customer definitely improves. Make the session interactive. It cannot be a one-way traffic. The customer's got to be asking questions. So make the entire session highly interactive. Let's move to the next point. Don't make the discussion too lengthy. If the customer is asking you something which you are unable to answer at that point of time, take a pause. Tell the customer that you would get back to him. Don't sound too technical in your product. Even though you may be selling a technical product, try to be as simple. Don't use too much jargon of words. It's thought many times by using jargon of words, you could be more impactful. That's absolutely incorrect. The more simple you sound, the more chances that your customer has understood you and your product better. Let's move to the next point. It's not about just ensuring that your customer listens to you. It's not about just that you're having eye contact with the customer. It's important that you talk the language which the customer wants you to talk. What do you mean by that? Well, you have to address the issues your customer is facing. Only then you can talk the language the customer wants you to talk or the customer is willing to hear. So address the issues and problems, if any. Keep asking the customer if he has any doubts. No harm. Otherwise it becomes a one-way traffic, as I mentioned earlier. Dress smartly before the presentation. Check the mirror before you're sitting in the front of the customer. No harm. Ensure your hair is combed and you have dressed in a proper formal attire. Check all your demo tools that they are in place. Your logistics, your laptop, your product or service which you're intending to demo. Ensure that you're reaching there in time and you're there well in the meeting room in advance. address everyone by names. It shows that you remember the person and you are empathic toward him. It's just not a selling tool or a selling presentation, but a relationship which you are trying to build with him. And when you end the presentation, ask for the follow-up steps on what the customer would like you to do now. Would he like you to send a quote? If he asks you to send a quote, how would he like you to follow up? Set up the meeting for the next dates if required. If you do all these things, there are higher chances for you to close the selling, the product which you're there for. So if you like my video, do press the like button, do comment, do share, do connect to me. My name is Romesh Advani and I am presenting to you here about how to make an effective sales presentation. Thank you so much.